Thank you for joining me for a cup of coffee today.
I am so pleased to be here. And my first cup of coffee is always my best cup of coffee. So let me have my first sip, and I'd love to chat with you.
This is
really good.
My best
really
cup of coffee today.
Isn't it good? So what I'd like to tell you is when I wake up and after I have my first cup of coffee, I usually go into my dressing room and I see two things that just keep me going. I happened to see these in a store and I had to buy both of them. The first one is, in order to be irreplaceable, one must always be different. And that is a motto that I have, because when I am practicing and doing my real estate, why would anyone want me? I have to tell them my points of difference. So I always strive to be different. And if I find out that other people are doing the same thing, I'm kind of flattered, because they say imitation is the greatest form of flattery. And then I move on. I keep it if it's worth keeping, but I'm always thinking of something new, or trying to think outside of the box and refresh, rejuvenate, and then move forward, and then react. It seemed to work with me. And the second thing that I have kind of makes me smile, and forgive me for the fact that I'm not going to be humble in this one, but I'm certainly not Estee Lauder. And this is one of her favorite sayings. And it says, "I never dreamed about success, I worked for it." Wow. And that actually is true. My goal wasn't to be necessarily up there on a billboard. It just so happens that I happen to be on a billboard in Stop and Shop, my claim to fame, and the shopping carts, but I did work for it. And so I'm very pleased that when customers call me, they say, "We just used your shopping cart," it puts a smile on my face.
Well, I mean, I just think it's amazing that you just quoted two icons, Estee Lauder and Coco Chanel, if I'm not mistaken, that you in your own right have become front runner, but an icon in some of the most exclusive areas of Long Island in real estate. And that's why I couldn't wait to talk to you today.
Well, that's so nice. I guess they're both in the area of fashion and design, which happens to be a passion of mine, as well as real estate. I've always had a passion about design, interior design especially, and it really does help me in my business.
I mean, now let's talk about like the areas. I want to hone in because it's a tough area. And you've just, I mean, you've been able to be a front runner, and it's pretty amazing, your successes, even now, even through a difficult time where people are struggling and have become dormant.
Well, my focus areas are the Roslyns. I have a passion for the people, for the culture, for the community, for the sense of camaraderie, that whenever there is a crisis, I am so proud to be part of the Roslyn community. They rise to the occasion. There's a group that founded bringing food and supplies to the hospitals, and I wrote about them in my newspaper that will be at everyone's doorstep shortly. I think whenever there is a crisis, there was one of the community members that was very ill. I have to say that it resonated throughout the community of young mothers, and someone organized Bring Food to the Home for over a month. It was so organized and so empathetically, there was so much empathy and love and kindness, and it pulled the family through. For 30 days, food was delivered, and then there were constant phone calls to help out. How can I help? How can I follow up? And I was just really, really so pleased and
I mean,
overwhelmed at seeing this community involvement.
well, which I mean, going back again, I mean, it's amazing because then you're also an inspiration to others to be able to be involved in the community. But you've always been a staple, if I'm not mistaken, of the community with what one of the projects I believe was with the East Hills Park, correct?
Correct, correct. When I heard about it, I said to myself, wow, the mayor is brilliant. And the mayor turned out to be a man of action. And he had some very good people. I don't want to start naming everyone because I'm going to end up forgetting, but I'll just mention one or two names, which is Stacy Siegel and Clara Pomeranz. Two exceptional, hardworking people. And forgive me for all the other people, but I'm not going to, I don't want to leave anybody out, but a wonderful team. And they were very forceful in having vision. What is the vision? They created a park that has become in itself one of the most important things that buyers now look for in East Hills, and in East Hills specifically, and that's the park. And they formed the Kids in the Park and saw the need to have all year-round activities. And it's open to many of the other residents as well. They have Mommy and Me programs. They have wonderful plays in the winter. They brought a zoo, a small zoo, to the Playhouse. And I've gotten involved in my way, which is to support them financially and with gifts. Children love presents, and I try to buy a timely present that goes along with the theme. 4th of July, we do red, white, and blue punch balls and boomerangs and many other things. And when we had the animal one, we gave out the cutest headbands with different animals for the boys, elephants and tigers, and for the girls. And it was so much fun. And that kind of brings out the teacher in me as well, because before I actually went into real estate, one of the things I did do was be a teacher in a local area, which I loved, and I love kids. I think it's probably because I'm a kid myself, and I love presents, and I know kids love them as well. So it's my pleasure to have been supportive, to have gone to the meetings till we had it formed, to see the value in it, and to support it. And I am also involved in all the other communities as well. And each community that we have, Roslyn Harbor, Roslyn Estates, Country Estates, and Lakeville Estates, I clumped together, and the village of Roslyn and Roslyn Heights, on the town of Roslyn, all have their unique, wonderful personalities. Each one a little bit different. Each one has something major and great to offer. And it's sort of like when a mom has 5 kids, each one is special in its own way.
I mean, I didn't know that you were a teacher, which is pretty amazing because even in times like this, you've taught us something because you found your way to work through it, to continue to be successful, correct? Like and you're teaching us now.
Actually, yes. I was privileged to be selected among several agents to represent a homeowner in Roslyn Estates. And during this period of time, it was important for him to launch it because he was a serious seller. And it was very smart that he took my advice as well as his own intuition. And let's jump the market. Let's get on there before the traditional spring market starts. And at this point, there wasn't a lot of competition, but there was competition. We wanted to be out there first. So we spent many hours preparing because preparation is a key toward, and perspiration, preparation and perspiration equals progress and perseverance too. So we did persevere. At one point, I think we spent almost 7 hours in one day.
Wow.
And I staged the home virtually. Lucky, I love to do it, and I love design. I got a stager who didn't want to enter the home, and we did it all within the framework and the rules of COVID requirements and regulations.
COVID, you did it virtually, and you also did it COVID compliant, which is unbelievable.
That's a great word. I was groping for it. COVID compliance. So what we did was I had one of my top stages drop stuff off at his house. I sent her pictures first, and then he brought them in, and I told him where I thought it should go. Okay, a little to the left of the fireplace. No, 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 that's it, perfect. Take those 3 pillows, put them here, make sure you scrunch it in the middle. And we went through the house. House looked beautiful. After that, we decided we're gonna do a teaser. And we sent, just like you do in a film, a trailer, we did a trailer teaser. We sent it out, we blasted it to all the agents on MLS.
Wonderful.
And especially in our area. And it said, hot new listing coming soon. From that alone, I got many phone calls. And then I said, are you ready to do it? And he said, yes, and we launched it. This was about 2 weeks ago. We launched it. We did major marketing, virtual marketing on the web, locally. And this teaser was brilliantly done. I was fortunate enough to have the person who created with me be a professional who took major companies like Target and does work for them, creative work for them. And he put together this amazing teaser, which I will use him forever. And within 3 days, I hit 4,000 views.
Wow.
Which people don't get in 6 months.
No,
And that's a fact. We got that, as feedback from being on the web. With that being said, I got multiple phone calls. I vetted the people and narrowed it down to 5 agents. Out of 5, 4 were supremely qualified. 1 dragged their tail, and after it became a fact that we accepted an offer, they wanted to come back, but the homeowner was very reputable and he honored the person he selected. And with that, we got, and it's under contract now, within 2 weeks, the contract is signed, it's under contract, we're going forward. What happened was, how does a person buy a home virtually? Usually never. And we did a lot of interesting kind of videos for this listing. But I knew that when you're spending between almost, $1.5 to $2 million, it was listed in the high 1.6s. You want to see the house. We were not, as agents, permitted to show a property. It was all done and worked out, and I thought about how to do it. A homeowner is permitted to let someone in, and the buyers called the homeowner and scheduled their own appointments. He was fine with that. They came appropriately dressed. I made sure that he, as well as his buyers that were coming to see the home, had the gloves on, had the Purell, had the mask, had booties. It worked.
You were able to oversee without having to go in, be COVID compliant, be, whatever our rules and regulations were, follow them, and still able to oversee the seller, the buyer, work, coming together.
Correct. And I was proud because it was on multiple, and 2 of the agents who ended up bringing their buyers said to me, but we can't show it. How can we get them in? And when I explained the method that they ought to get in touch with one another, and after that, one of them actually brought a fabulous buyer. They all realized and started doing it on their own listings as well. So as I said, imitation is the greatest form of flattery. I have to always think out of the box. I always have to reinvent myself, because Coco Chanel said, in order to be irreplaceable, one must always be different. and not different for the sake of being different, but adapting to the times. This proved to me that moving forward, and it zoomed up real estate 10 years, we were 10 years behind, it's inevitable that going forward, we will always be doing virtual real estate. We will always be doing virtual tours. And we will do public open houses, but not for a long time when it's really, truly safe. But we will incorporate virtual as well as live real, as well as live virtual, and work them both. And I can foresee the day when we're not going to even be in offices, or maybe just to have meetings to exchange ideas for brain power, but we're going to be in our own virtual office. The world is a big place, and I cover many areas. My office doesn't have to be in Roslyn, because I also sell all of North Hills, and I also sell all the concentric towns that lap onto Roslyn: Port Washington, Manhasset, onto Old Westbury and Brookville, onto Upper Brookville. I probably left out a few others. So that's the way the real estate will be going. That's the direction we're going to be in. And we have to embrace the new reality, the new norm, have a positive attitude, have a smile on your face, and just reinvent yourself and reinvent your craft as you go along.
I mean, Joyce, I couldn't have said it better myself. First of all, the inspirations from just Coco Chanel. If you can't tell, I'm a huge fan as well. But I mean, you're a powerhouse. You've worked hard, and you've been so successful to get to the point where you're at. But you're showing us even how successful and what a powerhouse you are, and what an inspiration you are to so many, and what an impression and an impact you're making. So that's unbelievable. And there's a reason. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, one of the titles you earned years ago, which was a big thing, was Queen of the Penny Savers, right?
Yes, that's a long story. I was the first to brand myself on the front cover of the Penny Saver, to reach out, to show my properties, to share my ideas. I eventually got a column on real estate inside. But I remember when I would go into the offices, we used to drop off flyers, or I did anyway, newsflash, hot new listing. And they go, there she is, the Queen of the Penny Saver. They good-naturedly laughed at me. I was sure that I insured myself by grandfathering all the covers for the first year or two. And it turned out that after a year or two, everybody was fighting for a cover. The best they could do was the back cover. But I just wanted to say one last and final thing, if I may.
Yes.
And you mentioned that I work hard, which I do, and that I'm an inspiration. It's my life. It's my passion. Yes, I work, and it sounds trite, but they say if you love what you do, you're not working ever a day in your life. It's really me. My success, my making good matches, by helping someone who's in dire need, to place them. And commission isn't my God, okay? But to be content, of course we like to be paid, but to be so content with helping somebody move up, move down, move sideways, move on, whether they're divorced, whether they earned a fortune. It's the success of making good matches that truly fuels my passion. I love what I do, and it just invigorates me and keeps me going.
I mean, Joyce, I can't thank you enough. You've inspired me today in so many different ways. I appreciate the value in the personal branding you've done for yourself and all the good that you're doing out there. And I mean, thank you for joining me today for a cup of coffee, and also for allowing me to join in your successes.
Thank you. And by the way, you make a great cup of coffee.
Thank you. I'll drink to that. I'll see you, Joyce. Thank you.
Thank you, Fay.